Chapter 2. The Gathering of Shadows. I do not know how long I stood there watching, for time had lost all meaning in the silent expanse of the cosmos. Then suddenly, and yet somehow inevitably, I felt a tugging in my mind, a whispering in my soul, as though some unseen entity was reaching out across the void to call me forth. As I turned to follow the source of this mystical calling, my eyes fell upon a sight that made my blood run cold. There, nestled between the towering spires of obsidian and hemmed in by curtains of shimmering light, was a door. No, not just any door, but one that appeared to be woven from the very fabric of reality itself, shifting and swirling like a mirage in the desert sands. With a pounding heart, I stepped towards it, drawn by an invisible force, and passed through into the hidden room beyond. Within this chamber, which seemed to exist outside of both time and space, were gathered the most powerful beings I had ever encountered or imagined. They sat, or rather floated around a circular table, their forms cloaked in deep shadows, their faces hidden behind deep hoods. Their silence was heavy, their stillness even heavier, pressing down on me with the weight of ages past. It was as if I had stumbled into a gathering of the ancients, a council of beings whose very thoughts could shape the destinies of worlds. But who were they? What secrets did they hold within their silent circle? And what was the purpose of their gathering in this secluded, timeless place? I stood there unnoticed, hidden in the shadows myself, racked with a sudden and terrible fear. Fear of what? I could not have said, but my instincts screamed danger. Then from the corner of my eye, I saw it. A ripple, a disturbance in the stillness. One of the hooded figures shifted, and my gaze was drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Slowly, majestically, the figure rose from its seat. Its form, tall and imposing, began to emerge from the shadows, and I gasped as I saw who or what it was. A man, yet not quite human, his skin as black as the void from which he had come, his eyes burning with an infernal fire. He was a vortex of pure darkness, and as he moved, tendrils of shadow and flame danced at his command. With each step he took, the air grew colder, the shadows deeper, and a sense of impending doom settled over me like a shroud. His presence was a palpable force, and I felt myself shrinking before him, becoming smaller, weaker, insignificant. Who was this creature of darkness? Why had it risen from its slumber? And what did its emergence mean for me, for our world, for all existence? Before I could even begin to piece together the fragments of my thoughts, the Black Mage, for that is the only name I can now recall, raised his hand, and from his fingertips, a bolt of searing darkness shot forth. It struck the table at the center of the room with a resounding crack, and the surface of the wood split apart as if hit by a meteor. Then, slowly, ever so slowly, a white light began to emanate from the point of impact. It spread outwards in calm, rippling waves, washing over the darkness, dispelling the shadows and banishing the chill. As the light intensified, I could see the room more clearly. The walls, once shifting and indistinct, now stood firm and solid. The ceiling, previously a swirling mass of stars, had become a clear dome through which I could see the very heavens above. And as the light touched the Black Mage, his form flickered and wavered like a candle flame in the wind. The infernal fire in his eyes dimmed, and the tendrils of darkness that had swirled around him dissipated into wisps of smoke. With a final surge, the light enveloped the entire room, pushing back the shadows and banishing the gloom. When it was done, the only darkness that remained was that which clung to my own heart. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the light vanished, and I was left standing in the soft, gentle glow of dawn. The vision was over. I was safe, or at least I was physically, for the experience had shaken me to my core, leaving me weak and trembling with a profound sadness that threatened to consume me. But amidst the despair, a single solitary thought shone like a beacon, urging me forward, compelling me to keep moving. And so I did. With leaden limbs and a heavy heart, I rose to my feet and began to walk away from the clearing, away from the council, away from the dread that had seeped into my bones. As I walked, the trees and shrubs closed in around me, their branches intertwining overhead to form a leafy canopy. And the sounds of the forest, once so peaceful, now seemed to mock me with their serenity. How could everything be so beautiful, so tranquil when I carried such darkness within me? How could the sun shine so brightly when my soul was shrouded in such deep gloom? I did not know, and perhaps it was not my place to know. All I knew was that I could not stay there, not until I had found a way to shed the burden I now carried. And so I walked on, deeper and deeper into the forest, until at last the trees thinned and the light of day returned. And that is when I realized that I was not alone. For following close behind me, emerging from the shadows of the trees, was the Black Mage,